Hi, Lee Phillips here. I want to talk to you for 2 seconds about the taxation of beneficiaries inheriting stuff from a trust. When the individual, the grantor, the guy who sets up the trust, dies, then the trust becomes irrevocable. Now, if it's mom and dad, it could be just, it goes on to the survivor, and then when the survivor dies, everything becomes irrevocable. But when the kids ultimately get the property from mom and dad, they're getting it through an irrevocable trust, because instantly when both grantors died, then the second one, when they died, the trust became irrevocable. The property, when it's inherited, and it can be through probate or through the trust or whatever, if death triggers the inheritance of the property, now that's not joint tenancy, that's through wills, trusts, that sort of thing. Death triggers the inheritance. The property gets a step up in value to the value on the day that mom and dad died. So when it actually triggers, we freeze frame the value of the property at that point. And that could be stocks, it could be the real estate, it could be whatever. That is going to be taxed in the estate of the deceased person. It is taxed. It is actually taxed. But you get a credit to pay the tax. And right now the government gives you enough credit to pay $12,060,000. That changes all the time, so you got to look at it. In 2025, it's going to go back to 5 million something. But you get enough credit to pay the tax for most people. So even though it's taxed, there's no tax owing out of pocket for the kids. The kids get a step up in basis to the value that it was taxed at in mom's estate. And that value is whatever it was, the value on the day mom, dad died. So, you may have to have the property appraised or whatever. But when you sell that property after mom, dad dies, then your basis, what you base your tax gain on, is the value on the day that they died. If you've kept it for a number of years, it might have gone up. It could go down too, but generally real estate, for example, goes up. So you may have to pay capital gains tax on that difference between the day mom and dad died value and the value you actually sell it at. You could get a loss, but you could pay the difference there. So it gets a step up in basis. There's no tax consequence when they sell the property the day after mom and dad die. They're selling it at market value on the day mom and dad died. Holding it for 5 years, we could get some market value out of that, but it's still, the basis is the value that it had on the day mom and dad died. Mom or dad, or when it triggered and came over to the beneficiaries. And this is the same whether it's in a trust, whether it goes through probate, whatever, it doesn't make any difference. So this is Lee Phillips. Now, I probably look at my book, my ebook, on using a trust. That'll go through some of this in more detail. It's free. You can get it. Just click on the link below. And don't forget to love us and like us and kiss us and do whatever you do on YouTube to subscribe. We keep putting these out, and I try and go through the questions that people have that they ask, and I've gotten a couple of questions on what's the capital gains tax when we inherit something through a trust. And hopefully we've answered that. No capital gains tax if we sell it quickly or at the value that it had on the day of death. Could be capital gains if we've held it for longer and it's increased in value or the value's changed. Lee Phillips talking on taxes and inheritance.